In solving hitting problems, coaching hitters, we must be aware of how people learn. A lot of players are at a stage of learning that we call unconscious incompetence. Now that's just big people words or graduate school terminology for not even knowing that you don't know. We may have a player who takes a poor stride, let's call it overstriding, too long of a stride, they get spread out too much. Well, because a lot of things happen at one time when you're hitting, that player may not even be aware of the fact that they're overstriding. They know they're having some problems, they're popping the ball up, they're swinging and missing, they're not getting any power or whatever the symptom may be. The cause is overstriding, and they're not aware of that. They're at a level that we call unconscious incompetence. We as coaches must get them to that second level, the one past unconscious incompetence, before we can do much good. And that would be called conscious incompetence. You know, if somebody joins Alcoholics Anonymous, they have to walk into a room and admit they are an alcoholic. They must admit they have a problem. We've got to get players to a level, to an awareness, to where they realize they're having a problem. We may have to create a situation that leads to that as coaches. We may have to be innovative and put them into a situation where they're going to fail and realize that that's the cause of the failure. We need to create that conscious incompetence so that they won't help, so that they're aware of the fact they have a problem, so that they're now eager to learn and that they want to improve and realize there's a need for improvement. That's called conscious incompetence. Once they're at that level, then learning can occur and problems can be solved. It may take some time, as we'll see, but a lot can be accomplished once they realize they have a problem, conscious of their incompetence. The third level would be called conscious competence. Now this is where a lot of drills occur. We take players who are having a problem overstriding and we create drills where they work on shortening that stride and maintaining body control at the time they're going to swing the bat. It's all going back to that control of the body that we're talking about. That's what overstriding causes, is a loss of control of the body. So we've got to realize we're still talking about control and we're at a level called conscious competence. We create drills for them to work on this. We isolate a part of the swing, the overstride, the stride. We're going to try to correct that specific problem. And we're at conscious competence when they're able to do that at practice. We do it over and over and over and over, and they're able to do it. You know what happens then? They go into a ball game and they overstride. And we look at them out there and we say, "You idiot, what in the world is going on? Just yesterday we worked at that over and over and over hundreds of times, and you were doing it right. Why can't you do it right in the game?" The reason, coaches, is that they are still at conscious competence. They can do it correctly while they're conscious of it. They are competent at it while they're aware of it. In other words, while they're isolating it and working on it and paying attention to just that, they're able to do it. But they have not yet achieved the fourth level of learning that all good athletes have to get to, and that's unconscious competence. You've got to be able to do it automatically, without thinking about it, naturally. Now, how do you get there from conscious competence? A lot of solid repetitions. Proper repetitions lead to proper execution. Quality and quantity of practice drills. Those repetitions have to be done enough times that you can get from conscious competence to unconscious competence. Then you can get into the batter's box, the pitcher can throw the ball, and you take that stride without even thinking about it. You're focusing on the ball and the stride just happens. That's reaching that level of unconscious competence. So we start at unconscious incompetence and we go all the way to unconscious competence. That's done through proper practices. Now you as a coach have got to be patient while this process occurs. We're trying to change the player from something they have been doing that has been comfortable to them and may have been to some degree successful. And you've got to be patient as this change occurs, because actually they may not get better, not to start with. They may go downhill. They may get worse. Someone once said that something doing is worth doing poorly at first. And that's what happens when you make some changes. They may do it worse to start with. Let me take this ball for just a minute and go over here and crawl like a baby and show you what I'm talking about. You know, babies, when they first start trying to reach an object, as they get to 7 or 8 months old, do that by crawling, like this. they're down on hands and knees, and I can do this pretty good. My wife says sometimes I'm a big baby, so I don't mind doing this. They crawl to that ball. Hey, I make a pretty good baby, right? I can crawl. And they get that ball fairly well. And they realize that they can move using that method, those mechanics. At some point, when they're, say, 9, 10, 11, or 12 months old, they stand up. We may encourage them to do this, or they may do it on their own. And now they attempt to reach that same ball that they were getting to quite well crawling by walking on just 2 objects, feet, rather than 4 hands and feet. Now what happens? The first couple of steps are kind of stumbling, and they fall. And that doesn't feel good, and they cry maybe. But they don't quit trying. They don't say, I can't do that. They get up, and they try some more, and they fall again. Now they could easily just quit. You know, they could say, this is not going to work. I was doing it a lot better the other way. And they could say, I'm not going to do this way, and just close their mind out to change. But what would happen then? They would be limiting their future method of moving, of mobility. They would never be able to stand up and walk and to later run, as every person needs to be able to do. They had to make a change. That change took them backwards. They could reach the ball much better to start with by crawling than by walking, but they were willing to work their way through thousands of proper repetitions as they learned to walk and later learned to run. And because of that, they became a much better mover, if you want to call that. We as coaches have got to realize that hitters will crawl for a while. If we want them to be able to run, they got to stumble and fall some. We've got to be patient as they degress a little bit so that they can reach a future level of excellence that they could not have reached in the way that they were going. Be patient with your players as they learn and as they move from unconscious incompetence all the way to that very successful level we call unconscious competence. Now we want to explore some very specific problems that you as a coach will see daily and how you can solve those problems.